There are a lot of news headlines here in Charleston, from the closure of Bilo in downtown Charleston to the future of 526. Columnist Brian Hicks of the Post and Courier sits down with me one-on-one for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. Brian, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you again.
You know, the last time I saw you was really the day when Mayor Joe Rowley, former Mayor Joe Rowley, retired, and I believe that was back in early January.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, a long time.
Out there on the street.
That's right.
Just you and me and 500 other people.
Yeah, trying to talk to the mayor and shake his hands and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, since that time, a lot has gone on.
Yeah.
Let me take you to Charlotte, because obviously it's, day 2 of nonstop protests and whatnot after the police-involved shooting with Keith Scott. In fact, Keith Scott was shot by a Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer. I know that you are a columnist. If you were to write a headline about this particular incident, what would it be?
I don't know. These things are so tough, and you want to be you want to be fair to both sides.
Yes.
And it's, you know, I don't know if it's a product of the community or what. I mean, there are questions about what happened in Charlotte.
Right.
I don't know who's telling the truth or what's right.
Right.
Did he have a gun in his hand when he came out of the car? Did he not?
Right.
So I don't know what to think about this. I don't want to see the protest turn violent, but I do think that there's been so many things happening around this country. I don't blame anybody for protesting police shooting. I mean, the odd thing is the one in Oklahoma the other week. I haven't heard anything about protests there, and that one was, it seems fairly clear cut.
Right.
So I don't know what I would put as a headline on this. I was thinking about writing about this and some other things similar to it for the weekend, and it's just one of those things that I don't know. I think I don't know. I saw a bumper sticker the other day that said "Blue Lives Matter," which I guess was about police and a response to Black Lives Matter. And I get really frustrated with people who think Black Lives Matter means no other lives matter.
Right.
And I don't know. It's sometimes hard to thread that needle with people. They just don't see it.
Yeah. Let me move from Charlotte to West Ashley. The headline in the Post and Courier online says this, quote, "Charleston board rejects design plans for gas station at former West Ashley grocery," unquote. And just a few seconds ago, you told me that you're actually going to write a column about that. When you think of the future of that site in West Ashley, what goes through your mind?
That whole area is very strange because you know, for a while there you had 3 grocery stores right there, just within seeing this place, and now you're down to 2, and everybody wants to know what goes on that site, and it's kind of weird because I live West Ashley and I worry about, you know, what's going on.
Yes.
And I know that people over there feel like that we've sort of got the cast-offs a lot of times, and we're kind of the one part of Charleston that's supposed to look like everywhere else in the country. It doesn't, but you know, that's where the general stuff goes.
Right.
We get the Red Lobsters.
Yeah.
No offense to Red Lobster, but so I understand these just people who are upset about the Sunoco or whatever.
Right.
Funny thing about it is, there's some really nice Sunocos when you go in.
Yes, indeed. I've been to a few myself.
There's one up there at North Charleston, Rivers and Arena,
Right.
that's sort of like this. And I drove by it one day and said, "Why does this have a picnic table outside? Who's hanging out here?"
Right.
But I don't know. The thing about it is it's sort of like all these other problems we're having. It's you know, you can't really tell property owners what to do.
Right.
They buy this land, they can do what they want there, and people can say we would like a nice hotel. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that's what we need. We need a nice hotel. If no nice hotels want to come in and they've been courting them for 3 years, I don't know what we do.
Right.
And I don't know. I've written one column about it, but I don't know how to feel about it. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you a very good answer.
Oh, no worries.
But you know, you can say you want an embassy suite sitting there. If embassy suite doesn't want to come, what are you going to do? You're going to let it sit there and be an empty pig? You know?
No pun intended.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. I want to get back to West Ashley in just a second, but I want to come back here because right next door, there's going to be really a hole in the city as far as shopping and pharmacy for a lot of the people here on the east side of Charleston, and that is by law. As you know, they're closing October 1st. I know the pharmacy closed, I guess, a week ago. And you actually wrote this as a column headline. You said, sometimes the store is more than just a store. What is buy low downtown to many of those customers?
Well, it's kind of a gathering place. It's been the place you see all your neighbors
Yes.
for years, for decades. And you know what? I don't think that me or anyone else ever thought of it as the Milo. It's just sort of what the pig turned into.
Right.
And in fact, my column in the morning is about this again.
Oh.
Right, my second column on the grocery store. Because I went in there yesterday and walked through the store, and it's almost nothing in there.
I mean, outside you see nothing from in there.
It looked like the grocery stores I've seen in Havana, where there's nothing on the shelves. And it was very neat and tidy,
Right.
but just nothing there. They had this sale, and you know, I think it's a very sad thing. I mean, if you see what happened in North Charleston up
Yeah.
around Shipwatch Square,
Right.
they lost their grocery store, and now those people have to go, you know, who knows where to get groceries, and a lot of them don't have transportation. And it's going to be the same with the east side, and that's sort of what I'm writing about, is that how much more of the peninsula do we have to give up? The locals have to give up. It's kind of funny, you know. James Lewis, city councilman,
Yeah.
nice guy, worked at the pig for years.
Yeah. Right.
He told me the other day we were talking about this very thing. He worked at the Piggly Wiggly at the corner of Broad and King Street. Now, a lot of people probably don't even know there was ever a
Right.
grocery store there. And he went through the same thing. They shut that down in 1981, and that's when he moved to Piggly Wiggly #1 over here next door to us.
Let me go back to West Ashley. This actually appeared rather in the Post and Courier as an editorial, I believe. And you said this. You said, quote, in the bike lane debate, it comes down to who puts in the time. And I'm wondering, how much time did Charleston County Council and the Department of Transportation and the City of Charleston wasted trying to get really a bike lane?
They've been going on this for 2 years, I think, and when it started, the city said, well, we talked to the DOT about this, and they'll let us do this, but they said they'll probably need the lane back by 2020. Well, this was a year or two ago when they were talking about having the lane open by now.
Right.
And now the county has got it, and the county, you have some people who don't want the bike lane, and so they're delaying some more by punting to the state and asking the state, what do you think about this? Well, at this point, you know, when you get a response from the state, which is no, easy thing to do, by the time you do that, if they do decide to go ahead with it and design it and build it, you're talking about opening it in probably not until 2018. So how much money are you going to spend on a lane that the state may come in and take in a year and a half? And that's not that I'm against it.
Right.
I've written some things about it. I'm not keen on losing lanes of traffic when things are getting so much worse on the road. We got so much more traffic, so many more people moving in. But it's not personal. It doesn't affect me. I don't come in and work at rush hour. And I'm from West Ashley.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. The only problem was on James Island, and I thought that wasn't fair. That James Island was negatively affected by this, and they can't even use the bike lane because you can't get to that lane from James Island. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried to bike over the
Yes.
Watu Bridge.
Yes.
It's kind of hairy.
Yes. Very scary, man. Very.
But I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm surprised the county, they've sent it off to the state. So I was talking to somebody the other day. We could take a newspaper from the News and Courier, from the Evening Post,
Right.
from the late 70s or the early 80s, and we could run all the stories in our paper tomorrow. And a lot of people wouldn't notice the difference because we fight about the same things, decade to decade to decade, the horse carriages, growth. Mount Pleasant, somebody sent me a story, actually a clip from the Evening Post in the 1984.
Wow.
And it was Mount Pleasant Town Council talking about having a moratorium on growth.
Interesting, ironic, because we're still talking about that now, and they want that now.
And the same guy was doing the talking about it. So it's pretty funny.
Yes, indeed. Let me stay with transportation. Obviously, the big debate right now is 526 and the future of it. You got Elliott Summey versus the State Infrastructure Bank and Infrastructure Board, and I know that they're going to have some sort of deal in place soon. You actually said this too as a column headline for the Post and Courier. You said this, quote, "Time for the State Infrastructure Bank politics to stop," end quote. What is next for this?
Well, I worry about what happens next, because if you can actually get the State Infrastructure Bank to sit in the same room, by the time that occurs, everybody could have changed their votes again. Because these guys are flipping and flopping, and you can't keep anything straight.
Okay.
And now you got other councilmen saying that what Elliott is saying publicly is not what he's told them, and I don't know the facts about that. But it seems to me that they do have the support back on the infrastructure bank, and they're going to take the money that we've been promised, and they want to build the first phase of the extension, basically get it over to Johns Island and see what happens then. They still have a lot of issues to resolve, because they've got to decide. One of the things that held this up is who's going to be responsible for paying the bills from the lawsuit that the Coastal Conservation League and Nix 526 are going to file.
Right.
And nobody wants to take responsibility for fighting them in court, and that's why this thing is delayed for so long. And I don't know. There are so many different people wanting that big pot of money up in Columbia. Well, first, if they don't have the meeting soon, they may lose the money again.
And how would that affect? I mean, for instance, hurricanes and other unforeseen events for people who are living on Johns Island and whatnot.
I buy into the argument that Mayor Tecklenburg and Elliott and some others are making about needing an additional route off Johns Island. I don't want to see Johns Island developed, and the naysayers are not wrong when they say if you build a bridge, you're going to have more development. I would argue that ship's already sailed on Johns Island to some degree, and I think if some of these groups would put as much effort into lobbying toward zoning and growth restrictions as they do towards trying to stop a bridge, that we could prevent some of that from happening. But right now, and I don't know why no one is talking about this, but one of the big projects they want to do with this half cent sales tax is this flyover at Main Road, this big intersection. Well, you know what? If you build 526, you don't need that. Because all those people down there trying to turn on the main road off 17, there are people who have no other way to get onto Johns Island. Most of them have come down from where 526 ends.
Right.
And so if you build 526, you don't have to improve that intersection. I mean, you should do something to it, but you don't have to spend $200 million on it.
Okay.
And when you think about it, the $200 million is about half of what we need to get 526 to Johns Island.
Interesting.
It's pre-lawsuit prices.
Speaking of which, another headline that you wrote as an editorial for the Post Courier was this: no horse trading here. Someone's going to walk or plop away unhappy, unquote. What is going on downtown?
This is another one of those stories. It's been going on since the 70s, at least. People complain about every time something happens with one of the horse carriages, it's fuel to the fire. In this, we've got to further regulate or ban horse carriages, and I have a hard time writing about it because I have a lot of people that I like and respect on both sides of the issue.
Okay.
The horse carriage industry is sure that the Animal Society wants to shut them down, and the Animal Society says, no, we just want more, a little bit of regulation on them. And you know what? They've said that to me consistently, so I mean, I take them at their word.
Right.
Of course, some of these carriage owners talk about coming down there and harassing them all the time. I mean, I don't think they're PETA.
No.
For God's sakes. But I also have a lot of friends who are in the horse carriage business, and they they love these horses, and I mean, it would be stupid to treat them poorly. And I don't know, I'm not an expert, and I think a lot of these people who are complaining aren't experts either. When is it too hot for a horse to be on the street? How much is too much for a horse to be pulling? I don't know. I'm all for reasonable, and straddling the fence and being completely unhelpful about that one.
Okay.
I just know that I'm not on the side of PETA, because, I mean, they just turn them loose and let them run free. We can't have that. I mean, you know, what are we going to hang out in Mount Pleasant? Of course, this can't pay homeowners association fees. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do with horses, unless you're going to take them up to, you know, the Outer Banks and let them free.
Right.
What are you going to do with them?
And then you say the people who are complaining. I've heard from a lot of people that it's mostly people out of town and the new locals who are coming in. What's your opinion about that?
Oh, I think there are enough critics to go around. I mean, this all started, you know, to hear one side tell it, from downtown people who just simply did not like the horses, you know, coming by, stopping in front of their houses, messing up the streets. And so there are a lot of different factions with a lot of different agendas about the horse carriage industry. And then you get the PETA people in it, you know, they're here today, they're protesting fish or something, I guess. But, yeah, we got a lot of different things, and there are a lot of different issues on the horse carriages. I think ultimately you are going to see the city back off of its temperature regulations. And, you know, I don't think that's bad, and I don't, you know, I don't think that's bad for the horses. I mean, the horses are going to love it, because if they feel heat anywhere near like we do, it's too hot around here. The problem is with the way the temperatures are creeping up, when it gets hotter longer a year, there are going to be more and more shutdowns for the industry. I mean, right now they're talking about cutting back to 95 degrees. Some cities go to 90. And I've had horse carriage, you know, companies tell me, if you say we have to go off the streets at 90 degrees, we might as well close the door. Because how often is it below 90 degrees? And you know, I don't blame them for thinking that some folks have that very intent in mind. So it's a very tough issue.
Another tough issue right now that the College of Charleston is dealing with is really alcohol and fraternities. You actually wrote this particular, you know, headline for the Post and Courier as an editorial, and you said this, quote, "CFC should keep the alcohol ban in place until the campus dries out." End quote. When will that happen?
Never. Look, I'm not opposed to a beer.
Okay.
I am not a teetotaler by any means. But the thing that got me is I got emails from people who got mad after I wrote that column, and they were saying, "Why are you attacking the entire Greek system over an isolated incident?" Well, it's not an isolated incident. You hear this stuff all the time. You've seen it. You've seen a kid died at Clemson, and you've seen USC have to shut down for that. We've had our problems here before, and it's not all Greek. So you know, I would never say that, but there's enough problems to go around at College of Charleston on that kind of front. People in private apartments, what have you. But you know, it always seems. I mean, we got this kids allegedly dealing dope out of the frat house, and then you know they're bringing an underage girl back, and you know, I don't know. I just think that maybe I'm getting more conservative in my old age, but I thought that McConnell did the right thing in saying maybe let's not make this whole thing about booze. Because we had a story a few days before my column ran. We had a story in the newspaper where I guess it was Deanna Pan went down to campus and talked to kids, and she interviewed a lot of the students. And every time she brought up a fraternity or sorority, first thing they said, "Oh yeah, those are about drinking," and that's largely the perception. Now, I didn't create this perception. I never write about it, but there's just been too many bad incidents happen, and McConnell's serious about this. I talked to the president the other day about it, and he's a product of a fraternity. He's
Right.
he's not anti-Greek life.
Right.
But he knows more than he's telling us, and he's seen the reports, and he says, they're lost, and we need to get them back on track.
Okay.
So, I mean, they can keep sending the hate mail if they want to, but I think it's, I think it's probably better they spend more time at Addlestone Library and less time at AC's. And that, I am now officially a curmudgeon. I'll go hang out at both.
There you go. Give a balance.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Hicks, as always, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Well, it's good to talk to you.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to see you again.
You too.